There is more chatter than ever before, and whispers are spreading quickly. Sierra is reportedly aiming directly at Yandy, prepared to provide information that might unnerve the entire group. But as the tempest gathered, her husband Mendeecees allegedly intervened, not just to protect his wife, but also to retaliate against Sierra with unexpected vigor. These circulating rumors claim that what began as a disagreement between two women swiftly turned into a dramatic confrontation involving unsaid secrets, family loyalty, and years of suppressed animosity that boiled over in public. Fans claimed that the atmosphere was so intense that they could feel the crackle of emotion in the air. Was Sierra finding insecurity, or did she actually possess the ability to reveal something so devastating that it caused men to jump into the fire themselves? And what made him react so strongly? It seemed like he stood to lose more than anyone else. People are drawn in by these questions, which analyze every rumor, every action, and every muttered phrase. One item is obvious: friendships will be strained if these purported secrets are revealed. It has the potential to destroy reputations and split families apart. There had been nothing but smiles, cameras flashing, and a room full of people, anticipating nothing but glitz at the beginning of the evening. However, a different story was told by whispers and darting eyes beneath those well-preserved exteriors. Individuals who had been monitoring the tension had a feeling that something will eventually spill. With her head held high and a steady fire in her stride, Sierra commanded attention as soon as she walked in. Not simply her appearance or her enthusiasm, she seemed to have practiced her comments and was waiting for the right opportunity to strike. As if she was carrying something heavy, Yandy attempted to maintain her elegant grin while surrounded by loved ones. However, it shifted the moment she saw Sierra. Their relationship had a past. The air tightened as they met eyes, and there were unspoken complaints that had never been fully settled. Talk dissolved into whispers. Cell phones slipped out of wallets and purses, and the room fell silent. As if everyone knew they were going to see something special, Sierra stepped up and spoke in a quiet yet clear voice that pierced through the commotion. People want to believe in pictures, Yandy, and you like to paint them in a flawless way. They are unaware, however, of the depth that lies beneath your grin. The remark wasn't merely lighthearted criticism. It was hefty enough to draw attention right away. Loaded and pointed. Though kind, Yandy's chuckle had a steely undertone. Sierra, what are you attempting to convey? Don't dance around. Anything you're uncomfortable with, say it. With their remarks cutting the distance between them, the two women were now just a few feet apart. Sierra cocked her head in a sly smile. I'll say it. I see. Don't assume that I'll say it when the time is appropriate. I'm scared that after I tell the truth, people won't ever look at you the same way again. The crowd let out a few gasps. Nearby fans tightened their grips on their phones, focusing their cameras. People were tweeting frantically on social media, indicating that something serious was about to happen. Mendeecees intervened before the quiet could get any deeper. The whole energy of the room changed when he was there. He went between the two women, steadily protective and clearly annoyed. His voice was composed, yet authoritative. Stop it. In front of everyone, you're not going to stand here and attempt to bring my wife down. Take care of any problems you may have privately. It's not this right here. Sierra refused to back down. She folded her arms and fixed him with her gaze. Confidential, how handy. When maintaining appearances is involved, everything is always done in private. However, when the lies are made public, don't you truths are also worthy of being made public? With some nodding in agreement and others shaking their heads in shock. The crowd gasped once more. From a mere argument, the tension had grown into something that seemed explosive. Yandy moved towards her spouse. Her gaze never left Sierra as her hand touched his arm. Don't make yourself appear better than you are, like the protagonist. You don't know what you're talking about, Sierra said with a loud laugh that was brimming with Have faith in me, Yandy. You underestimate how much I know. While you played flawlessly, I bit my tongue and hung on to things for far too long. However, I have receipts, so if I need to provide, I will them. Mendeecees' face became stern. His jaw tensed as he inclined slightly in Sierra's direction. Is it your intention to threaten her in my presence? No, it won't occur. What you believe is not what you actually possess. Additionally, you will be destroying bridges that cannot be repaired if you go over that queue. His audacious defense left fans speechless. His defense of his wife was praised by some, but others muttered that his response was almost overly defensive, as though there was more going on. It was obvious how divided the room was. Some are supporting Sierra's resolve while others are supporting Mendeecees' allegiance. Friends moved closer, spoke softly, and urged both parties to try to defuse the situation. Inhale, it's not the way. Softly, not here, not now, was muttered, but it hardly registered. Sierra's voice lifted, her feelings exploding in every word. You desire allegiance. To be loyal means to be truthful. The essence of loyalty is defending rather than concealing the truth. And you two have established a reputation for deceit and silence. And I have been faithful for far too long. No more. I'm over my silence. It felt as though a storm was brewing in the room. The emotions were running high, nervous eyes darted, and everyone appeared to be burdened by the strain of years of conflict. Yandy's placid demeanor crumbled and her voice became sharper as she finally spoke. You act like you're some martyr, but you're not the one carrying the weight of a family, of a reputation, of the responsibilities that come with it. You're just angry because you don't have what we have. The words hit the ground hard and murmurs spread swiftly. The charge startled fans who shook their heads and said Yandy had gone too far. Others nodded in accord. Sierra's face wrinkled and she spoke steadily but shakily. It's not envy here. Truth is at issue here. You may accuse me of being resentful. You may say that I'm envious. However, I'm just exhausted. I'm fed up with you deceiving everyone. I'm fed up with seeing you cover your actions with a smile for the cameras. For a few while there was quiet as the crowd held their breath. With his hand lightly resting on Yandy's shoulder as though to stabilize her, Mendeecees inhaled deeply. Despite his low voice, he spoke with passion. The whole thing is not what she believes she knows. I'm not going to let her in either. Here and ruin my family because of assumptions and half-truths. The gap in the room widened. Family members, uncertain of their position, whispered to one another. Others glanced at Yandy and Mendeecees suspiciously, wondering if there was more to their defensive posture, while others sought to soothe Sierra by telling her to let it go. And just as it looked like everything would settle down, Sierra took out her phone and gripped it tightly. The crowd went into a frenzy at the mere gesture. Fans frantically whispered, asking whether she had any recordings, screenshots, or other evidence to support her accusations. Anticipation became thick enough to pierce the air. Sierra replied, her voice now unflinching. I've stayed silent long enough, but if this is how you want to play it, then fine. Let's show everyone who you really are. The response was immediate. We heard gasps. People pushed closer and security moved closer to the three, keeping a close watch on the developing situation and being prepared to step in if needed. Something had changed in the night. Nobody could have anticipated it. And the distinction between allegiance and treachery would soon blend in ways that would shake everyone. It was so tense that later reports said it was nearly impossible to breathe. Sierra didn't feel like she was retreating when she put her phone aside. It was like a chess move. A deliberate pause before the next move. There was a deafening hush surrounding her, and the promise of discoveries still shone in her gaze. Obviously, the storm was far from finished, and the crowd was unsure whether to tighten their hold on their seats or let out a sigh of relief. He repeated, you need to let this go, Sierra. Whatever's eating at you, this isn't the way to handle it. Mendeecees stayed firmly in front of Yandy, his body language protective, his voice steady and low. His words were measured, but beneath them, everyone could hear the anger. Sierra's shrill, brittle laugh cut through the quiet. Release it. You no longer have the right to tell me to let it go. I've been letting it go for years. I let it go when she lied, when she manipulated, and when she threw me under the bus to save herself. Fans were frantically whispering about the possible meaning of these accusations as the crowd burst into In the rear, one voice let out a gasp. What does that even mean? She asked. Threw me under the bus. Another person responded. It sounds like betrayal. Like Yandy did something to protect herself at Sierra's expense. The theories spread like wildfire, each one more dramatic than the last. And Yandy's composed exterior now completely broke down, her voice rising sharp. Don't you dare act like I'm the antagonist in this story. You want to talk about what I did? Fine, Sierra said, her hands shaking, but her voice unflinching. You're twisting everything. Shaking, but her voice unflinching. You're twisting everything. You're painting yourself as the victim when you know exactly what you did. I stayed silent when you lied. I stayed loyal when I shouldn't have. And I took the fall for things I had no business carrying because I believed that protecting you meant protecting the family. But all it did was leave me broken while you went. About as if nothing had happened. Fans let out a loud gasp, phones rang, and the tension increased. It was no longer just an argument. Mendeecees clenched his fists and spoke in a firm commanding voice, saying, You're not about to rewrite history to make yourself look righteous. Whatever sacrifices were made, we all carried our share. So don't stand here and act like you bore the burden. History was spilling out layer by layer. Wait alone. No, you don't understand. You two had each other, and I had no one. Whenever I tried to speak, I was cut off. Whenever I believed I could trust someone, I was reminded that loyalty only went in one direction. You two took and I gave. Sierra shook her head, her voice breaking as tears filled her eyes. Whatever pain you've carried, whatever pain I never wanted you to feel, Yandy said, softening her voice to the point of pleading. The room fell silent as family members exchanged uncomfortable glances, obviously aware that pieces of the puzzle were being dropped. Even though the full picture hadn't been revealed yet, Sierra chuckled bitterly and shook her head, saying, I may not have handled everything perfectly, but you know I didn't set out to hurt you. Intentions don't erase actions. You can say you didn't mean to, but that doesn't change what happened. It doesn't change a nights I cried myself to sleep because I was protecting you while you slept peacefully next to him. Don't bring me into this like that. You're twisting it, making it sound worse than it is. Whatever happened, I was doing what I had to do for my family. Sierra lashed back swiftly. Mendeecees' comments came like a punch, and the crowd gasped collectively. The rawness of her words left the room in shock, with friends shifting uneasily, some covering their mouths in shock, others whispering that this was deeper than they'd realized. A fan near the front muttered, She's making it sound like there's history between all of them, like real. But what about me? Wasn't I family, too? Or was I just convenient when you needed someone to keep your secrets? Betrayal? Another whispered back. If she speaks the truth, this might ruin them. I remained silent because I believed loyalty was more important than my own peace. But it sickens me to see you two stand here defending your image while ignoring what I passed through. Sierra brushed a tear from her cheek, her voice firmer now, but full of pain. You don't understand what it's like to live under a microscope. Yandy's eyes glistened with unshed tears, her voice trembling as she tried to maintain control. People worship you, Yandy. They call you strong, inspirational, a role model, but if they knew half of what I know, that image would crumble in an instant. Sierra's voice broke again, this time softer and more raw. Every weakness is used against you. I did what I had to do to protect myself, to protect my kids, to protect the life we've built. Maybe I wasn't fair to you. But don't stand here and act like you've had to carry the same weight. I never asked for the spotlight, Yandy, but instead, I became your scapegoat, your shield, and your silence. The audience was split. Some were clearly sympathetic to Sierra, nodding and whispering that she had every right to speak up. I never asked for the fame, the cameras, or the attention. All I asked for was honesty. All I wanted was loyalty in exchange for mine. Other people shook their heads, saying she was being dramatic, that her timing was cruel, and that family business should never be dragged out like this. Mendeecees finally spoke again, his voice abrasive and protective, saying, Enough is enough. You want to air your grievances? Fine, but you're not about to destroy everything we've built in front of strangers. I won't let you. You can't stop the truth, Mendeecees. You can't control me anymore. Sierra's response was prompt, her voice cold and unwavering. For years, I let you dictate what I could say, what I couldn't say, and who I could trust. Those days are over. I made